Punks vs. Zombies by John Cronshaw, Episode 22. Chapter 47. The jagged peaks of the Rockies jutted above them, the narrow winding road barely visible against the sheer mountainsides. Tommy squinted out through the dusty windshield, hands clenched tight on the wheel as he navigated a cliffside turn. Layla shifted beside him, one hand pressed against the dashboard as she peered from the window. "You sure this route was the best call? We could topple into a ravine and no one would ever find us." "Yeah, it's risky," Tommy said, "but we gotta take the back ways to avoid the worst of the deadheads." Jimbo snorted from the back seat. "Fat lot of good that does us if we plunge to our deaths instead." Static crackled over the walkie-talkie. "T, you read me?" Tommy grabbed for the radio. "Loud and clear, Nix. What's up, man?" "We need to pull over. Zero says we need to reassess our route. The terrain's worse than we thought. We keep burning fuel at this pace. We'll be walking before Idaho." Tommy chewed his lip. "All right. Next clearing, we'll stop to talk strategy." He caught Layla side-eyeing him. "We don't have time for this. We need to be past this before dark." "I know," Tommy sighed. "But we gotta be smart. No use getting stranded up here. Easy pickings for the first horde that wanders by." Up ahead, the road widened into a small turnout nestled against the mountains. Tommy pulled in and killed the engine. The others gathered as he spread his worn map over the hood. Roxy joined him and jabbed at the tangle of backroads. "If we keep on this route through the high passes, we'll burn through our fuel. We should backtrack, take the interstate." Tommy shook his head. "Too risky. I don't fancy running into any more robbers on I-70. We'd be sitting ducks." "So what, we just drive off a cliff instead?" Layla threw up her hands. "There's got to be another way," Nick said. Mickey peered over Tommy's shoulder, tracing possible routes with his finger. "What about this road here? Cuts through the valley. Looks mostly flat, could shave time off too." Tommy considered it. "All right, let's give it a try. But we got no room for error. Everyone stays sharp." Murmurs of assent all around. They piled back into the vans. Tommy revved the engine, casting a wary glance at the darkening sky. The winds had picked up, carrying a biting chill that seeped into the van. As they set off again, following the new route Mickey had suggested, the first flakes of snow began to fall, swirling all around them. The road ahead was less treacherous but no less daunting, snaking through the valley. The snowfall thickened, blanketing the landscape in a silent, ghostly white. Layla pulled her coat tighter around her. "I hate snow," she muttered, her breath fogging the glass. The radio crackled again, Zero's voice barely audible over the static. "Visibility's getting bad. We should consider stopping until this lets up." Tommy's grip tightened on the wheel. "If we stop now, we lose precious time. We push on." The snowfall grew into a blizzard, the world outside reduced to a blur of white. Tommy strained to see the road. As they drove, wind shrieked around them, lashing the vans as they crawled along the mountain pass. Tommy clenched the wheel, tension etched into every line of his body. Squinting into the blizzard, he struggled to keep them on the precarious road. Layla leaned forward. "We can't keep going like this, Tommy." She snatched up the radio. "Guys, we need to find shelter till the storm breaks." "Copy that," Nick said through the radio. "See any place we can hole up ahead?" Tommy scanned the snow-swept slopes and shook his head. "There's nothing." "Down there." Layla pointed to a road just visible through the snow. He turned them down the narrow drive. The Minx van crawled in behind. Killing the engine, Tommy stared at the swirling flakes. "All right, let's hustle," Jimbo said, tugging his collar up against the chill. "Storm's only getting worse." Tommy's gaze lifted to the surrounding peaks, obscured behind veils of snow. Somewhere out there, he knew the dead still roamed. "Remember that blizzard outside Fargo?" Mickey said. "Never thought I'd be caught up in snowbanks again." Layla scowled into her scarf. "Let's just pray this one doesn't trap us here." The wind screamed through the pass, kicking up a blinding swirl of snow. Tommy could barely make out the dim outline of the other van pulled up beside them. "Well, I guess we're stuck here for a while," Mickey said, breaking the silence. "I hate this," Layla said. "Trapped God knows where while a blizzard rages outside." "We shouldn't have stopped," Tommy muttered. "We need to keep pushing east." Layla shook her head. "Not in this visibility. We'd drive right off a damn cliff." Tommy stared out at the featureless white beyond the windshield. Somewhere in its depths, faint moans echoed between gusts of wind. Layla tensed. "You hear that?" "Just the wind playing tricks on us," Tommy said. They sat listening to the storm whirling around them. The minutes crawled by at a glacial pace. Mickey rummaged under his seat and emerged with a bottle of whiskey. "Might as well settle in," he said, taking a swig. "Could be here a while." "We can't afford a while," Layla snapped. "We're burning precious fuel just sitting here. Every minute is a minute we don't make it through these damn mountains." The storm showed no signs of letting up, but their idling vans became more vulnerable by the minute. "Let's play a game," Jimbo said. "I spy with my little eye something beginning with S." "Snow," Mickey said, not even bothering to look up from his hunched position. "Damn, you got me." Jimbo chuckled, but the laughter died in the cold air. They shared a can of cold beans, eating more out of necessity than hunger. The silence was heavy, punctuated only by the sound of the wind howling outside and the occasional crackle of the radio. Jimbo took the can from Mickey and downed the rest of the beans before tossing the can into the back. "At least if we freeze to death, we won't have to worry about the deadheads anymore, eh?" Layla sighed deeply. "We should have stayed on the main roads." Tommy shook his head, his voice low. "No. That would have been a death sentence of another kind. This is just bad luck." He traced the snowflakes as they slammed against the glass, a relentless, hypnotic dance. As the hours dragged on, the storm showed no signs of abating. Fuel was running low, and the cold was seeping in, no matter how tightly they wrapped themselves in their coats and blankets. Outside, the world was a blur of white, the storm a seemingly endless onslaught. A sudden scream cut through the radio. "Zombies heading right for us." Tommy grabbed his bat and threw open the door, the frigid wind biting through his jacket. He leapt out into knee-deep snow as the first zombies lurched through the blizzard. Rotten faces turned toward him, gnashing teeth stained red. He swung his bat in a wide arc, crushing the first zombie's skull with a sickening crunch. One down, 20 more to go. Layla was beside him in a flash, tire iron whistling through the air. She clubbed one clean off its feet, sending it flailing backwards into the snow. More zombies descended, a shambling horde emerging from the swirling veil of white. Roxy, Nix, and Spike charged in, weapons at the ready. Mickey cracked a zombie across the jaw with a crowbar, knocking its head clean off in a spray of gore. The headless body staggered forward, arms grasping blindly. "Strike one, deadhead." Another swing sent it crumpling. Layla brained two at once, then stomped one's head into the snow. "Come on, you dead freaks." Tommy swung wildly, taking out zombies left and right. Behind the horde, he spied the snow-laden pines fringing the turnout. "Layla, the trees. Help me drive them that way." Together, they battered the zombies back toward the woods. Roxy caught on and joined them, wielding her machete. "Timber," Jimbo shouted as he shoulder-checked a zombie right into a pine trunk. It toppled backwards into the snow and lay still. "Strike three, you dead lugnut," Mickey bludgeoned one, then turned and walloped another. "You're out." They pushed the horde further back until the trees hemmed them in, then Tommy and Layla moved in sync, clubbing the zombies from both sides. The snow-heavy branches crashed down, crushing flailing bodies. Soon, at least 20 more bodies lay motionless. The blizzard swirled around them, coating everything in a fresh layer of powdery white. Layla dusted the snow off her gore-spattered jacket. Mickey leaned against a tree trunk, catching his breath. Nix trudged through the trampled snow. "Everyone still breathing?" "I think we're good." Spike spat a wad of blood and wiped his split lip. "Remind me not to get on your bad side," Jimbo said to Roxy, as she shook brain matter off her machete. Tommy did a quick head count. By some miracle, they'd all survived more or less intact. Around them, the storm continued to rage. I guess that's one way to get warm. "And here I thought the dead didn't like the cold," Mickey said. Roxy, Nix, and Spike trudged back through the snow toward their van. They were halfway to the van when Spike stopped, raising a hand. "You hear that?" Faint on the wind came the sound of guttural moans. Roxy tensed, gripping her machete tighter. More of them, and sounds like a lot more this time. Forms appeared through the veils of snow, first a few, then a dozen, then what looked like an entire horde emerging from the trees. Tommy gripped his bat tighter. "All right, everyone, looks like we're not done yet. Form a line and get ready." He took position at the center of their makeshift battle line in the snow, with Layla and Jimbo flanking him on either side. Mickey stood beyond Jimbo, crowbar at the ready. The zombies shambled toward them, some in ripped ski jackets and snow boots. "Steady now," Tommy said as the creatures drew nearer. He eyed the closest one, a male zombie in a torn puffer jacket. When it came within reach, Tommy swung his bat, feeling the crunch of breaking bone as the zombie's head exploded in a spray of blood and brain matter. Layla cheered as she bashed in the next one's skull. Mickey and Jimbo joined the fray, crushing and smashing the rotting horde with focused intensity. "They just keep coming," Mickey yelled over the snarls and howls of the horde. More emerged from the swirling snow, tripping over the piling corpses of their broken brethren. Tommy grimaced as fetid blood and gore splattered his jacket. "Take them two at a time if you have to. Just keep swinging." The horde pressed in around them. Adrenaline fueled Tommy's blows as he felled one zombie after another in quick succession. Beside him, Layla screamed in fury, cracking her tire iron through a zombie's jaw with savage force. "This is like the world's worst snowball fight." "Dude, you're a genius." Jimbo grabbed handfuls of snow, packing them into tight balls. "Hey, deadheads, think fast!" He pelted two zombies in their faces. The snow exploded in puffs of white, momentarily blinding them. "Good thinking," Tommy called. "Use the snow, distract them." Jimbo, Spike, Mickey, and Nick set to work bombarding the zombies with volleys of snowballs while dodging grasping arms. The zombies snarled and flailed, decayed hands swiping at empty air. Seizing the opening, Tommy and Layla moved in with their weapons swinging. Layla smashed her tire iron through one zombie's skull, while Tommy crushed another with a cracking blow. Roxy joined in, alternating between slicing zombies with her machete and nailing them in the face with snowballs. The snow flew as the group tag-teamed the remaining zombies. Snowballs pelted rotting flesh just before bats and tire irons came crashing down. "Finish them off." Tommy smashed his bat across the temple of the nearest one, while Layla brained the second to last with a final swing of her tire iron. Spike wound up and hurled one last snowball right between the eyes of the final walker. It teetered back before toppling face first into the blood-speckled snow. Roxy slashed her machete through its skull for good measure. "Strike. That's the game, bitches." Tommy wiped his bat on the snow, a small grin on his face. "Well, that was invigorating." Layla nodded. "Nothing like a bit of exercise to warm you up." Mickey brushed the snow from his coat. "Let's hope they don't have more friends nearby." Nick shook his head. "I'm just glad everyone's still standing." "For a minute there, I thought we were goners." Jimbo clapped Tommy on the back. The snow had finally stopped falling, only occasional gusts of wind swirling the white powder now. Tommy lowered his bat, surveying the scene. Bodies lay strewn about, the snow stained red in places. "I think that's the last of them." Layla let her tire iron drop into the snow. "About time. My arms are killing me." Mickey stretched his back. "You said it. I'm gonna be sore for days after that workout." Roxy glanced around. A grin crossed her face. She scooped up a handful of snow, packed it tight, and let it fly, nailing Tommy on the forehead. "Oh, you think that's funny, huh?" Tommy grabbed his own handful of snow and lobbed it at Roxy, catching her shoulder. She retaliated, pelting him again. "Snowball fight!" Jimbo joined in the barrage against Tommy. Snowballs flew in all directions amidst laughter and shouts. Layla got off a perfect shot that exploded against Mickey's chest. "Bullseye! Eat snow, Mickey!" Spike slipped and face-planted into the snow, coming up with a mask of white. Through cackling laughter, Nix lobbed snowballs rapid fire, his throws going wide more often than not. I never was much good at this. Tommy dashed behind a tree to avoid being hit again. "All right, I give up. No more." But the snowballs kept coming. After a few more freezing volleys, the snowball flurry finally died down. They were all dusted in white, breathless, flushed, and laughing. "Haven't done that since I was a kid," Layla said, brushing snow from her hair. From the van door, Zero gave a shout. "Hey kids, storm's blown over. We should hit the road before any more deadheads show up." His words were met with a fresh barrage of snowballs from all sides. "Oh no, you don't," Jimbo charged towards him. "You can't escape." Zero retreated into the van, one hand raised. "Seriously, children, we need to move out." Their laughter echoed off the mountainsides now that the winds had calmed. For a moment, it felt just like old times. Tommy clasped Jimbo's shoulder, their breath fogging the air. "Come on, let's get moving. Zero's right, we shouldn't linger." They clambered back into their respective vans, peeling off snow-soaked layers. Layla shivered as she wrung melted snow out of her hair. I hate blizzards. And I hate zombies. Put 'em together, and you get a slushie of fun, Jimbo said. Over the radio, Nix's voice cut through. I've checked the scores, and it looks like Roxy won the snowball fight. She gets the prize. What's the prize? Tommy asked. Honor, of course. You think we've got trophies to give out? Tommy smiled. Well done, Rox. And good work, everyone. We showed those dead bastards who not to mess with. Damn straight, Jimbo said. And I haven't had that much fun since the world went to crap. Tommy keyed the radio. All right, gang, let's blow this popsicle stand. You got it, T, Nick said. Tommy started the engine, allowing it a minute to warm up before shifting into drive. Beside him, Layla pulled her scarf up over her nose, eyes gazing out at the snowy landscape ahead. Let's hope the road stays clear, she said. I've had enough snowstorms and zombies to last me a lifetime. You and me both. To be continued. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. To find out more about John Cronshaw and his work, visit johncronshaw.com. Punks vs. Zombies is copyright John Cronshaw and Wyvern Books Limited. All rights reserved. This is a work of fiction. People, businesses, and places are entirely